Hello and welcome to the Sunset Bend here at Sebring. We're heading out with, I believe this is Alexander Wesley Hazelworth for qualifying here in the season finale of the Indy NXT Road Series. What's next? It's Indy NXT. I missed the intro. I'm chock full of sweet potatoes and green bean casserole, Thanksgiving leftovers. Hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving holiday last week. 3,000 strength of field on offer here for the season finale here in Indy NXT. That's kind of the golden number here in feeder series land. I'm going to let you ride on board with Hazelworth on his outlap here, but I'm going to give a brief rundown of the point situation heading into this week. Now, there has been races already run this week, but you'll see Tim Van Grusven is leading the point standings over Jarrett Corey, who will be our number 3 car here tonight. Mackenzie Roon, who we've seen make appearances, Flynn Lazier, Henry Oliede, Jan Twitter, Matt White, Robin Otonson, Victor Couto. He's back here tonight. He'll be in our number 6 machine. George Griffiths rounds out the top 10. Mitch Welker, who won out at VIR, he's on this list. You got the likes of Ty Keela, Stay Ray, Alexander Wesley Hazelworth, who we're on board with here right now. In 24th in points, we will see if any of these drivers can make inroads in the point standings. I believe Jarrett has narrowed up this gap to just 8 points back to Grunsven at the top of the board. Got Hazelworth working down the back straightaway here in his IL-15 here at Sebring. Cameras tonight brought to you by Whiplash Sim Cams. We'll be looking to get some views from all around this. I believe it's around 3 miles here at Sebring. I will double check that figure as we ride along, head down towards turn number 1 for Hazelworth's first flyer. It's going to get nice and close to that inside wall. Very, very bumpy here at Sebring, as it is trademarkly known for, especially through that, I believe it's turn 13, Sunset Bend, that final corner here at Sebring. Navigating the opening couple of corners here, he'll head under this Allen J. Bridge here towards the Mobile One signage. Towards, I believe this qualifies as a hairpin corner, more or less. Not quite. Quick left, right here. You drive through it straight. Head back down towards the right-hander here. So Sebring International Raceway stands at 3.74 miles. I believe this is the longest track, aside from maybe Spa, this season for the Indy NXT Road Series. Hazel will navigate the right-hander there, and he'll start working towards that long back straightaway here around the 3.74 mile Sebring International Raceway in Sebring, Florida. The Ullman Straight, as I am discovering, he'll head down towards turn 17. That is the Sunset Bend. I gotta learn my notable racetracks better. They got lots of fun names here at Sebring. Right on board with Hazelworth here. Continues to navigate here. I believe this will be his first lap. I think we're a bit delayed here. Let's get caught up here. He's actually heading out of the hairpin that is known as hairpin. That's turn number 7. He'll head down here. Currently, Jarrett Corey is on the pole with a 146.715. Heading through back portion of the lap here. Head down the Ullman Straight towards Sunset Bend for the second and final time here in qualifying for Mr. Hazelworth. See if he can get down into that 146 bracket. Drivers still coming to grips with this IL-15. Hazelworth, of course, being one of the noteworthy drivers coming from the Indy Pro 2000 Series here on iRacing. 147.576 for Mr. Hazelworth. Good enough for 4th as it stands. We'll head out there, right, outboard. Oh, Jarrett's winding down his qualifying run as well. See if we can find ourselves some outboard cameras with cars still on track. Hop out there with Ty Keela. He'll head down the Ullman Straight for his 2nd qualifying lap. Four cars separated by within a second here. See if any of these other drivers have anything to say about it. Ty in that Lucky Charms car for Rogue Racing here. Will be good enough for, I believe, 11th here with a 148.336. Andy Kirkwood with a 148.286, just ahead of him. He'll lock in to just inside the top 10 there. We'll stare down the front straightaway here with Mr. Keela. Actually, we'll ride with Kirkenbauer. New livery for Mr. Kirkenbauer here. Of course, he leads the Oval Series point standings. Their season finale will be tomorrow night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Of course, that'll be at Homestead, Miami. So we're going off into the sunset for both series in their inaugural seasons here in 2025, Season 4. Around Sunset Bend, head down the front straightaway. Goodness me. He's got the Votive Racing colors on that machine this time out. He'll be good enough for 9th there for Indy with a 147.988. Get in the sights and sounds of Sebring here. Skip Barber Racing School trailer there. Long lap here. Anything close to that 2-minute mark is pretty substantial in terms of the distance needing to be covered and the time spent. Be in for quite a treat here as we round out the 12-week season here in Indy NXT. I want to thank everybody for tuning in week and week out for this coverage in its inaugural season. I obviously really wanted to get these on the air. We're in for 12 laps around here at Sebring, so we're going to be just over that 20-minute mark, I would believe. And we've got ourselves a grid, one headed up by some of the very best on the road to Indy ladder at this moment. Past, present, and future, I'd argue, in a lot of cases. Much like the coverage we've brought to you here on Monday night in particular. So we'll hop through, start getting through the grid here. And it will be your points leader, Jarrett Corey, on the pole with a 146.715 ahead of Victor Couto in the 2nd spot. Carter Lundy will line up 3rd, notable name in the road to Indy. He'll line up 3rd in the number 2 alongside Alexander Wesley Hazelworth in the number 1 in the 4th spot. Nathan Ray will line up 5th next to Bryce Calusa. Ty Burns will be 7th. Ryan Turcotte will be 8th in the number 6 machine. Andy Kirkwood, the prodigy, the current points leader in the Indy NXT Oval Series. He'll line up 9th alongside Chris Wetz, making another appearance here on P1. I believe he won the next Oval Series strength of field at Richmond. Sonny Vitre will be lining up 11th alongside Matt Mosby in the 12th spot. Ty Keela for Rogue Racing will be 13th alongside William Weiss in the 14th. Franco Machini will be 15th alongside Bill Riptaskis in the 16th spot. Joshua Bolanos will be 17th alongside Jared Ray Hutton in 18th. And we've got 2 cars not taking time. That's going to be Marcos Gabriel and Georgie Trepsik lining up 19th and 20th in our 20-car field here tonight. Strength field is once more just over that 3,000 mark, kind of the golden goose in feeder series competition here on the road to Indy. Get the standings music out here as the pace car pulls off. Long pace lap, full 3.74 mile pace lap here for these drivers here tonight. Pace car is going to be guiding them around here, heading towards turn number 1. Sebring, of course, most notable for the Sebring 12-hour. And I believe that, do they still have the 1,000 kilometers of Sebring? think that's still an event. May not be. Most notably, the 12 Hours of Sebring, part of the IMSA calendar, I do believe. That being its most notable use. Does get used for IndyCar testing, I believe. A number of recent years have seen IndyCars take to this track for some shakedowns. Imagine that's got to be pretty good for getting an idea of how the cars might handle on the bumpy street circuits that series partakes in. Good to see a solid turnout here in the last week of the season. We're looking forward to 12 laps to round out what's been a solid opening season for the Indy NXT Road Series. Of course, we'll be off next week for the official series competition. iRacing does their quarterly builds, which will put us into week 13, the fun week, if you will. And then we'll be back the following week with more Indy NXT and IndyCar official series action. Of course, next we'll be taking on, I believe, Road America or Okayama for the Road Series, and then Motegi for the Oval Series. Very much looking forward to seeing how the Indy NXT Oval Series shapes up next season as we get towards more tracks that I think will fit the cars a bit better than some of the stuff we've seen this season. The conga line racing, if we've kind of coined it. Pace car still leading the field around. Very long pace laps. So we've got time to kind of observe the sights and sounds here as 20 IL-15s will take to the course. Head down the Ullman Straight here at Sebring. Now we'll round Sunset Bend here before too long, and the field will be unleashed upon Sebring International Raceway. Be quite the sight to see some open-wheel cars of note race here. I want to say they do a number of things with Formula Atlantic cars around here for maybe track day events. I've seen some mixed series cars around here, open wheel variety. It would be interesting to see a sanctioned series like IndyCar or Indy NXT take on Sebring. Of course, they've already got many a race in Florida with St. Petersburg. Here we go around Sunset Bend. Pace car is going to pull off. Jarrett Curry will have control of the field.
Green.
Off into turn number 1 they go. Solid launch for both him and Kuto. Lundy's going to look to the inside into turn number 1. Hazelworth's there. Relatively clean through 1 and 2. They'll head through the opening couple of corners here. Kuto stays decently in tow behind Corey here. Be very much a game of who can keep the power down. Hazelworth's already back about a full second behind Lundy in the 3rd spot. Drivers do not have the option to use push to pass on the opening lap for those trying to keep score at home. We'll fill you in on that situation probably around lap 4 once drivers have gotten a couple laps on the docket there. So it'll be Corey over Kuto over Lundy. Hazelworth leads the rest of the field in the 4th spot. We're seeing some motion towards the back of the field, just outside the top 10. Number of cars jockeying for position just outside that top 10 there. We're going to stay with the battle for the lead for the opening couple laps here and then start to work our way through the field as the battles start to develop. We'll get gaps between cars on the screen so we can try to track those down as they happen. But so far, so good. Clean opening lap here at Sebring. They head off into Sunset Bend here. Hazelworth still leading that train. He's got Bryce Calusa rather, behind him. Nathan Ray runs just off of the distance there. We'll watch as these leaders cut through the opening couple of corners and then maybe hop to that battle a bit deeper in the field between Calusa, Ray, and Burns, as they look to be the closest put together. Drivers already using that push to pass. Corey is slowly inching away. Kuto's going to fake a look to the inside, heading into the hairpin here. Big bump. Big jump of the suspension for Kuto off the corner there. Put him back closer to Carter Lundy. Good to see Carter out here. It's been a while since I've seen Carter out on the track here on iRacing in general. Had some solid races hit with him across USF and Indy Pro competition over the years. So it's this 3-car breakaway at the front of the field. We'll watch them work towards Sunset Bend and then hop back toward that battle for 5th, 6th, and 7th between Calusa, Ray, and Burns. Give them their due as Corey seems to get just a little bit of a gap on Kuto on corner exit. Lundy's going to make a lunge to the inside here. We'll ride him into Sunset Bend. Is he going to make the move here? He is not. He's going to fall back into line. We're going to navigate Sunset here. They'll head down the front straightaway. So we'll hop back to that battle for 5th, 6th, and 7th now. Actually, no, we've got a pass for the lead here, potentially. Lundy with the fastest lap of the race. I don't know if we're going to be able to get to that battle. These front 3 cars are pigs in a blanket stacked at the front of the field. We'll give Jared a bit of credit here for staying up near the front under very much intense pressure from Kuto and Lundy behind. Bit of a slide there for Kuto in the 2nd spot through the hairpin. We're working lap 3. We'll give you that push to pass update next, the conclusion of the subsequent lap. We're going to stay with the leaders here for the time being. But actually, let's watch them work that back straight away through Sunset and get back to that battle for 5th, 6th, and 7th. At least give them a bit of camera time here, as we're almost a third of the way through this, or a quarter of the way through this race. Corey is starting to pull away from Kuto now. Gap's about a half second, depending on where you catch him. Immense pressure coming from Lundy. I would not be surprised if Lundy manages to make it on through here, that gap would start to close back up. I believe this is the first race we've seen Carter in. He's going to make that move to the inside again going into Sunset. Is he going to stick with it this time? He does. He's there. See if he'll make that pass through Sunset Bend here. The outside lane very much seems to be preferred, as Kuto will hold on to it and work down the front stretch here. They'll head off into turn number 1. Kuto's going to keep that spot for now. We're going to hop back to, I guess we'll hop back to Ty Keela and Indy Kirkenbauer fighting for the 8th spot. It's the closest group of cars on track aside from our leaders. Rogue Racing and Votive Racing drivers working inside the top 10, putting up some solid performances here tonight. Very much a stacked field on the pointy end of the stick. Good to see these guys navigating this very, very tricky track here at Sebring. Oh, no, Hazelworth. What happened to him? Meatball flag. Not sure what for. Potentially connection related. Have to see if we can figure out what happened to him. He's seemingly left the server. Unfortunate break for Mr. Hazelworth as the 1 car. We're back with Kirkenbauer running in the 8th spot. There's a lot of bit of ground to Mr. Keela in 7th. The gap between Corey and Lundy has gone out to over a second now. We'll move back towards Lundy, who's going to be trying to chase down Jarrett here. So we work lap number 4 here. This will be third distance completed here tonight. They'll round Sunset Bend. We'll check out the push-to-pass situation and then work our way through the field. So Jarrett Corey has the most push-to-pass of the podium drivers on 112. Lundy's back on the button. He's only got 33 seconds left. He must have spent a good bit of that trying to get around Victor Couto. He knew that his only way to win this race was to catch Jarrett and catch Jarrett early. We'll see if he's able to use that last bit of it to his advantage. He's wrangled down to just 0.8 of a second now between himself and Jarrett ahead. Victor Couto runs in third on 89. We'll jump back to him. He leads Bryce Calusa and Ty Burns on 109 and 106 respectively. Ryan Turcotte just back in the distance here, the number 6 machine. He sits on 122. Machini's on 115. Wett's on 150. He hasn't used the button at all yet. May come into play later in this race. Matt Mosby, he runs 9th. He's on 105. Bolanos down in 10th. See Nathan Ray out in the distance in 11th on 133. Bolanos on 128. Marcos Gabriel, he sits on 131. Hutton has not touched the button either. He's still on 150. William West is on 131. Trepsick sits on 150. Kirkenbauer and Ty Keela have fallen down the order. Not sure what happened there. We'll have to see if we can... Ty Keela's in the pit lane. Let's see if we can get a replay on what happened to him. Oh, big trouble out of Sunset Bend for the Rogue Racing driver. Looks like he's going to bounce. Car's going to slide. Manages to keep it. Oh, and Indy shoots to the inside trying to avoid him. Runs into the back of him. And then Ty shoots into the outside wall. And that's going to be that done and dusted. He likely just opted to wait until the cars got around him and pull it into the pit lane. Back to the front. Get the push to pass off the screen. We'll get gaps back on up there. 0.8 of a second separating Jarrett Corey and Carter Lundy. I suspect that if Jarrett can hold on to this win, that will put him at the top of the point sheet. We will knock on all the wood on planet Earth for Jarrett. We're not going to broadcast or jinx him. We've already had enough of that this season. So Jarrett will lead Carter here. Not sure what Carter may race in the real world, but I believe he's racing something in real life. Has his more infrequent appearances here on the sim. But again, very nice to see him out ripping up on the road to Indy. No different than times gone by. So that ran us through the bulk of the field. Not too much action happening here until you get back to about Nathan Ray running in the 13th spot, about 0.3 of a second off of William West for 12th. Rest of the field's about separated by half a second between each car, so we'll stay closer to the front. We'll actually ride on board with Carter Lundy this next time around, see if he's able to show us around here at Sebring. Get on board with the all-black machine for Carter. He's out of push to pass. And we've still got half a race to go here. That will be dire. Big slide through the hairpin there for Carter. I think Carter may need to give up the ghost and hold steady here in the second spot. See if he can hold on to this here. Obviously about a 4-second gap back to Victor Couto, but Couto's got 80 some odd seconds of push to pass, give or take, to play with. Carter's just got to manage this gap. the rest of the distance here as we'll head towards the Ullman Straight. Before too long here, couple quick left-handers here into another quick right-hander, followed by another left-hander, and then the Ullman Straight. Whoa, big slide once more. Carter using those Firestone tires for every little bit they're worth here tonight. Gap's about 1.5 seconds to Corey now. Corey's just managed putting the throttle down, staying pointed the right direction better than anybody so far here tonight. He's going to take a nice wide arc into Sunset Bend. He'll head down the front straightaway now. We'll hop to a different machine. Let's go check out Chris Wetz. He's just made a pass for the 7th spot. He's side by side with Franco Machini down the front straightaway here. He'll hold the inside line clear into turn 1. It's the battle for the 7th spot. Bryce Calusa has closed in on Ty Burns. Burns must have recently made the pass on Calusa. Gap almost 2 seconds. Corey back to Lundy. Lundy's got nothing in the push and pass department, and that's doing him no favors here in the back half of this race. No big shakeups otherwise, aside from the incident we saw with Keela and Kirkenbauer early on in this race. We're still out here with Chris Wetz. We'll actually hop up to Calusa. Runs 5th into number 5, that Ghost Energy machine, trying to hunt back down Ty Burns. Hearing lots of tire sliding through the back half of this track as they'll head down Ullman towards Sunset Bend. Of course, this is not the only thing we've got going on this week on P1. Of course, Hoosier 500 practice is all week this week, across various days throughout the week. That'll be broadcast here on either the Hoosier 500 or the PRI or the P1 channels. Of course, we've got this race being the nightcap for tonight, but tomorrow night, Mark Murphy will be on the call for the IndyCar Oval Series season finale doubleheader from the iRacing Superspeedway at 7:15 and 9:15 Eastern Time, with a podcast intermission in between both of those races. Or you could tune in to Hoosier 500 practice at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Gary Godso and Andrew Wood on the call for that. I'll be on the call at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time for the Indy NXT Oval Series season finale, riding off into the sunset on the 1.5-mile Homestead Miami Speedway. That'll be at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time Tuesday night. Wednesday night, we'll have the Formula Indy Series from Mexico City, 8:20 p.m. Eastern Time. Likewise with more Hoosier 500 practice, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Thursday night will be the IndyCar Pro Series qualifier finale from the Iowa Speedway. We'll have the second split, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, alongside more Hoosier 500 practice at the same time. Friday night will be the Race for Recovery 200. I believe that's trucks at Daytona. Mark Murphy will be on the call at that, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And then big old bowls of Week 13 action next week, with the noteworthy event of the following week being the final day before the running of the PRI Hoosier 500 on December 14th. And I've spent all this time, and now Jarrett Corey is now out to a 3.2-second lead over Carter Lundy. You want to talk about a passing of the torch. Carter was a dominant force in Indy Pro competition a couple of years ago, and Jarrett's been amongst those dominant in recent seasons. I don't think he ever quite won the championship in the couple seasons of Indy Pro he did, but he's certainly shown his mettle across all the Road to Indy cars, including a USF 2000 championship this season. I've had the fortunate opportunity to share the track with him throughout the season. He's definitely put up the best season of anybody this season, winning pretty much every race he competed in, barring select appearances. 4 seconds back to Lundy now. That gap to Kuto is what I'm mainly interested in seeing. That's down to 3 seconds, so not having pushed a pass for half the race is doing Lundy no favors in terms of keeping the gap where it was. Corey, of course, catching up to Indy Kirkenbauer ahead. Imagine the drivers just off of the distance. I believe that's going to be Kirkenbauer and Ty Keela, amongst others. They'll navigate Sunset Bend. Coming to 2 laps to go here. Just got to keep playing it cool, calm, and collected here at the front of the field. We'll update you on that push-to-pass situation once more. 22 seconds for Corey. Lundy's been sitting on none since about lap 6. Kuto's on 29. Ty Burns runs on 9. Calusa's on 25. Turcote's on the button in 6th on now 38. Machini sits in 7th on 42. Wett's on 48. Bolanos runs 9th. Corey's going to make it by Kirkenbauer here. They'll head towards the hairpin. That's Keeloff in the distance. Bolanos on 25. Marcos in 10th. He sits on 54. West on 20. Trepsic on 121. Hutton still has 150. That likely means to me that he doesn't have a button for push to pass. Somebody go identify him and tell him he needs to get the push to pass there. Reptaskis is on 0. Kirkenbauer sits on 33. Obviously just behind Jarrett here in our shot. And then the rest of the field, I believe, is Matt Mosby and Ty Keela. Mosby on 69 and Keela on 65. Class of the field. Jarrett has put in the work this week to be at the point all night long. He'll head down the Ullman Straight for the penultimate time. 5 seconds back to Carter Lundy. Truly opening the can of worms nice and wide. Oh! That's going to be Kirkenbauer around in the back. Might have made contact with the wall. He's going to pull it into the pit lane. White flag's in the air. Corey leads. We'll actually ride on board for the final lap here. Fastest driver in terms of average lap speed is going to win this race. Not sure if we had another purple lap from him. I believe Carter Lundy set the fastest lap with a 146.533 a number of laps ago, but Jarrett's fastest isn't too far off that with a 146.743. He's going to navigate the hairpin here. Ty Keela just dots in the distance there. Don't believe Jarrett will reel him in. It'll be very nice to see Jarrett round out this season with a win. This likely puts him in position to win the championship here in the Indy NXT Road Series, barring some larger strength of fields for Van Grissen later on this week. Heading through a number of corners here. Quick double left, into the right, into another left. There's the left. Here's the right back onto the Ullman Straight. And all Jarrett's got to do is make it down this back straightaway, head on through Sunset Bend, and he'll be home free. He's on the push to pass all the way down. Not all the way down, for a good portion of that straightaway there. He's out of push to pass at this point. He's going to round Sunset Bend nice and easy here. Nothing he's got to do too difficult here, and he's going to cross the finish line. Barney has the checkered flag in the air, and that'll be Jarrett Corey winning another race here at Indy NXT Road Competition on P1. We'll hop back to Carter Lundy, who should be rounding the corner. There he is. Victor Kuto will round out the podium. I'll see if we can track down Carter for the podium. We got a number of drivers still finishing, and we'll get to the finishing results here shortly. Quite the dominant performance, all things considered, from Jarrett. But we still had ourselves a field throughout. Kuto managed to close the gap down to just under 2 seconds. So that lack of push to pass definitely did not help Carter in any sense of the word. We'll get the camera out on. I think Jarrett's waiting. To do burnouts. See if we can get closer in on his machine. We're going to watch the number 3 car here of Jarrett. There he goes. We'll watch him do donuts in the background as we run through the finishing results. So it will be Jarrett Corey, your winner, by 5.7 seconds over Carter Lundy. Victor Kuto will round out the podium, the winner at Lime Rock Park, and I believe last week at Barber as well. Ty Burns will finish 4th. Bryce Calusa will round out the top 5. Ryan Turcotte will be 6th in the number 6 machine. Franco Machini, he'll be 7th. Chris Wetz in 8th. Joshua Bolanos in 9th. Marcos Gabriel will round out the top 10. William Weiss will be 11th. Georgie Tripsick will be 12th. Jared Hutton will be 13th. Bill Raptaskis will be 14th, the last car on the lead lap. Indy Kirkenbauer will be 15th following multiple issues here tonight. 1 lap down. Matt Mosby 16th. Ty Keela in 17th. Nathan Ray out. Hazelworth out, likely due to connection issues. Did not see what happened to him otherwise. Sonny Vietri will be 20th, and our final finisher here in the 20-car field. Jarrett chiming in chat, letting us know he's going to do donuts. Jarrett, we got you, buddy. We'll get your donuts on screen for you here, too. We get you on up here for the podium. First, we got to get through the bottom step, which will be Victor Kuto here. We'll get him on the screen once we can find his vehicle out there on the track. There's his machine. Driver of the number 4 machine. Get him on up here. Victor, Jacob Collins, P1 Broadcasting. You got me? Well,
yeah, I got you.
Well, another podium finish to round out the season for you. Kind of talk us through having to navigate this very, very bumpy, treacherous Sebring from the bottom step of the podium.
Yeah, this track's already kind of hard to drive just in any car, and the Indy Lights is very lively in this game. So it's pretty tough. I mean, you just have to know where the bumps are and kind of steer yourself clear of it. We had some good pace, but unfortunately, finished 3rd. Carter, I think, locked the rears there going into 10 and kind of pushes off into the grass. I don't think it was, any bad intention, but it's unfortunate. But not a bad result in the end.
Yeah, it certainly seemed like there was a number of very, very difficult points in the race where people were just having issues getting the tires underneath, and we saw a number of cars spin off Sunset Bend throughout this race. Obviously, a lot of tire noise through the back half through all those kind of twisty, trying corners. Was there anything that you felt like you had to do differently this week compared to weeks past that we've seen in this season to try to manage the tires, manage the in-car tools any differently?
I feel like today was a little bit more tire management than usual. I think Barber and especially Lime Rock weren't really too tire intensive. This one was definitely a lot more. It's quite a bit hotter than we had last few weeks. So I think just making sure that you're not sliding too much in the traction zones, and of course having a good line through Sunset and turn 1 to not get loose helps a lot.
Well, another podium finish to round out our season here in Indy NXT on P1. If you got anybody you want to shout out, Victor, feel free to do so.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I'll shout out, of course, P1 Broadcasting for broadcasting the top split, and I'll shout out Zanella Racing.
Well, Victor, glad to see you here on the podium once more. We hope to catch you next season as we head into, hopefully, the first full year of Indy NXT official series competition here on the channel.
All right, yeah. See you.
And that will be Victor, your 3rd place finisher. We haven't tracked down Carter Lundy, but we'll get his car on the screen for a little while. Give him his due. He definitely put up a solid race in that number 2 machine. Of course, everybody's going to want to talk to Jarrett Corey, who I believe will take the points lead. We'll have to take a look and see if point standings have been updated following his interview. But here's Carter Lundy, P2 tonight. Solid finish for him. Glad to see him make an appearance on the channel in the inaugural season for Indy Next. He's very much a large part of the Road to Indy community. So we want to shout him out for showing up and gracing us once more. And we'll move up to the man of the hour, Jarrett Corey. Get him on up here. Jarrett, Jacob Collins, P1 Broadcasting. You got me?
Yep.
Well, you put on a clinic here today. Gap was around 5.5 seconds come the finish of the race. Talk us through how you managed to put together such a dominant performance here at Sebring.
Yeah, I guess it turned out my pace was really good, so that really helps to like leverage that in a race as well. I mean, I took pole in qualifying, so that always helps, but my sort of goal going into the race would be to try to use as little push to pass as possible, because I sort of figured this track would be like the Red Bull Ring, where you've got a lot of long straights to use push to pass on. Less laps, but I'd argue like maybe 2 more straights than the Red Bull Ring has, and some of them I think are a bit longer. So a lot of it came down to push to pass management, and I was just trying to use as little bit push to pass as possible. And I saw Victor was using a lot when he was behind me. I think he had to go up the inside of turn one lap, and I just sort of misjudged how much he was going to be using down that straight. But once I sort of held it around the outside there, I knew Victor probably wouldn't be able to challenge me late in the race, especially. So I just need to keep him behind. And then once Carter passed him, Carter immediately used a bunch of push to pass, and so that kind of sealed it for me as well, because I knew I just let him catch me, and then he'd run out of push to pass, and I could just sort of keep using consistently every lap, and eventually it'd start to pull away. And that seems like what happened there. I don't know, maybe he also wore his tires more, or knew at some point he couldn't catch me and just gave up, because the gap definitely seemed to extend a lot late in the race.
Yeah, you talked about how the long straightaways definitely played into that push-to-pass management. We noted it about lap 6. Carter was out. He had no more push-to-pass to give. And I think Victor had mentioned that he had locked up and went off in the grass at some point, battling with him, trying to get in a position to even get to the chase to try to hunt you down. So it very much kind of played out exactly as you thought, with using as little push-to-pass as possible, keeping your car out at the front of the field, keeping it nice and clean. Definitely played a huge factor here tonight. You have any other thoughts or, I guess, input on how you managed to navigate this place? Any sort of differences you've had to make to previous weeks here in the car? Maybe some different things you tried this week that you hadn't maybe thought to do before? What have you?
It's kind of the same old. Just be careful with your right foot. This track's got a lot of bumps. I mean, I don't know if you saw, I had a sort of 360 no scope on my second qualifying lap leaving Sunset, just pushing it a bit too hard on throttle, and I think I just hit a bump the wrong way. So you definitely got to be careful in a few places to just not hit a bump the wrong way of too much throttle and go around. But that's not too different to how it seems like every track is in this car. It really wants to go around on throttle, and the bumps just add to that. So maybe a little bit like Long Beach in that regard. But apart from that, I mean, it's not too different to any other track. I guess in a way, maybe it's like a combination of the Red Bull Ring and Long Beach, in a sense, of the tracks we've run so far of this car.
Yeah, it's obviously a testing track for IndyCar, and I'd imagine that's no in due part due to the street courses that they encounter on the schedule. So very much probably a good learning opportunity to respect those bumps, as people coin it here at Sebring. Certainly something that the throttle management plays much bigger factor once you've got, a very treacherous track to get the power down on in the first place. And I'm going to knock on wood here once more. But as it stands at this very moment, you are currently the points leader and will be the champion for the series by 9 points over Van Grusven. We'll let you take the floor and kind of talk us through your season here, because it's not every day we're going to get an inaugural champion on the broadcast potentially. So talk us through it.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of, I didn't know like what kind of chance I'd have going into it. So, I mean, if I want to go down every round, I mean, Laguna Seca, I went into it. That was kind of a disappointing one because I screwed up the start, and I mean, I just kind of I made a Grosjean move at the corkscrew, and I cost myself some points, but it was more out of like respect because it was a bit of a terrible move I made, just sort of dropping back, and then I accidentally kind of left Hazelworth, so I lost another position through that as well. And then Long Beach, I sort of screwed up qualifying. Same with VIR. So I sort of missed out on getting more points earlier in the season. And early in the season, I think is where I really built that lead, especially over Tim Van Grunsven, uh, because I just sort of was in those broadcast races, and we got a lot of the quick people for those broadcast races. And then the Red Bull Ring is where I finally sort of broke through and got that win. And then from there, it was sort of like just trying to get back up there because now I sort of believe in myself, like, yeah, I can win in these broadcast races. Because I mean, you can do it sometimes, but like you have to like you gotta do it in order to like really believe that you can keep doing that. And I mean, pull an Indy road course, and I just didn't have the pace for Naughty Emil there. Olin Park was very heartbreaking with that spin because I missed out on a lot of points there. Suzuka, I mean, in Lime Rock were just tough, sort of second place finishes to swallow again, like fighting for the win, but just coming up short. A lot of the time, both of those were sort of the similar qualifying, just didn't quite hook it up. Not even that I got bad laps, but that I think it was Michael Ziccola and Victor Cudo, respectively, just hooked up really good ones. And then Barber, of course, we know what happened there last week. Uh, got sent flying, kind of like Kirkwood and St. Pete one of those years, I think 2023. And I mean, this race was just clutch. I mean, I knew I had to win it. The race before, I had 10 too few points compared to what I calculated that I needed. And so I knew I had to win this one to have a shot. And so I think Tim Van Grunsven needs like 145, 146, 144, somewhere in that range. So that should be easy for him to get realistically. Um, he's quick and he brings popular. So I reckon he's got a decent shot at doing it. The thing is, he just needs the raise. So I mean, he could be on holiday. You never know. I'm hoping he is, but either way, I've had a good run, and I can't blame anyone other than myself for not winning it because I threw away a ton of points on my own. But either way, I mean, I didn't know if I'd have a shot at doing this or not. I mean, anyone's guess. New car, sort of no idea what participation is going to be like. So I just went into it, tried to do the best I could, and at least I've tried to do that every single week. So I'm happy with myself and everything, like all the races I've done on the broadcast, apart from like maybe Olin. But I think I've done a good job.
Well, certainly the test of a champion is being able to get back up when you make those mistakes, come back at it, and go bigger and better each and every week. And you've certainly shown that this season. I congratulate you again on the USF 2000 championship. That's done, locked and dusted, as they'll head to their season finale this week at USA International. But nonetheless, very much drives of a champion here. Nonetheless, regardless of how it shakes out in either series, I want to thank you for turning out here every week here on the channel, Jarrett. I very much appreciate you racing in the series and being a good representative for everything we've got going on here on the virtual road to Indy.
Yep, thank you. It's great. I mean, I went into running Formula cars at the start of the year, and I just sort of picked up the USF and the F4, and something about the USF car just clicked with me. And I've just I stuck with the same sort of philosophy. I just wanted to drive all the cars going up the ladder. And then I met all Indy Pro people, and now I'm gotten into this car in the US Open Wheel, and now I feel like I've kind of found, another one of those series that like I'm just gonna stick around and have a good time racing these cars, and especially the people running them as well. So yeah, it's great.
Well, Jarrett, we've kind of said a lot, but if there's anybody you want to shout out here to round out your run here, the win and or the championship here in Indy NXT, feel free to do so.
Yeah, I guess again, P1 Broadcast, UMP1 Broadcasting for putting this on. I mean, if you aren't going to do it, I don't think anyone's going to do a broadcast race in these cars in this series, and it's great, and it's really helped with like participation, I'm sure. So, and I guess also like a lot of the competition as well. I mean, Windy only, I think, really only came around for this race. But I mean, you had Hazelworth coming around for a few of these. I think he got disconnected in this race, though. Victor came around at the end. Zacola sort of in the middle of the season. All those guys. I mean, everyone I raced for to win was very clean and respectful. So it's great racing with these people. So yeah.
That's certainly something that we've seen throughout the Road to Indy's time here on iRacing, and something I think pretty much everybody can attest to is the quality of the racing product, regardless of what level you're at. If you want to come and join us here, feel free to do so, and you could be here right here with Jarrett battling it out for a championship in Indy NXT or any other car on the Road to Indy at some point in the future. Thanks again, Jarrett, for tuning out, and congrats on your win and hopefully your championship.
You're welcome, and thank you for having me. We'll see you.
And that will be Jarrett Corey, winner here at Sebring, and currently the points leader heading into the rest of the week here at Sebring. This will do it for our inaugural season of Indy NXT Road Series competition. We will be back next season in 2 weeks' time. Same time. What track are we at? I need to confirm that. Road America. Okay, I knew I had it somewhere correct there. So it'll be Road America and Motegi for the opening week of Season 1 of 2026 for Indy NXT. Want to thank everybody for tuning in to the broadcasts here in the inaugural season of the Indy NXT Road Series. It's been my pleasure to bring these on the channel for everyone to watch and bear witness to some of the best racing I think we have on the iRacing service, and to all those that do the difficult jobs around the world that let us do all the fun things that we do, like bringing you Indy NXT coverage here on P1. Want to thank them for their service, public or otherwise. And have a good night, everybody. We'll catch you tomorrow night for a triple header of open wheel action from iRacing Super Speedway and Homestead, Miami for IndyCar Oval and Indy NXT Oval, respectively. Going to be quite a night there, but we will catch you next time. Good night, everyone.